Human, probably the only species on Earth who pondered beyond food, shelter, and reproduction, the basic needs of life. We always had a big question in our mind: where do we come from? And probably that made us fantasize the time machine. No, we couldn't make it yet. But we ventured back to the era of dinosaurs and beyond by excavating the fossilized history. New scientific inventions helped us to understand the mystery of evolution and life. The same query attracted us to the museums. We look at ourselves standing in front of showcases containing skeletons and taxidermies of the creatures who might be our remote ancestors, placed in a branch of the family tree we share. In 1916, Calcutta University took an initiative to bridge the gap between animals and the human race. They started a museum in Ballygun Science College, collected fossils, bones, and stuffed animals from different parts of the world and preserved. This collection, with a long time of ignorance, after nearly 8 decades, was noticed by Professor Dr. Ina Rai Banerjee.
What I found was in an old museum room when I was a student at MSc, all the animals, which after 7 years we know to be close to 4,000 in number, were crammed in various almirahs, in drawers, in shelves, and even some of them kept on the floor. On top of almirahs, they were in a very bad state of decay because most of the bottles, the volatile preservatives had gone evaporated. So most of the flesh was in a dry state, either as a brittle paper-like condition or almost decomposed like a congealed mass, or like powder. And it was difficult to even understand what was in there. Most importantly, there was no inventory. All that we found were some log books from 1931 in which were handwritten some entries, but there was no systematic number to the animals, no inventory of the source from where they were obtained, the condition they were obtained from, whether they were donations. So everything had to be reconstructed virtually from scratch.
The age-old treasure trove has come out in sunlight. They're cleaned and restored, since she wanted to make the museum into interpretive educational tool. Diorama give a three-dimensional realistic view of the natural environment in which the animal lived. 7 new display cabinets were completed on osteology, embryology, and comparative anatomy. 5 ecological dioramas displaying leopard seal, platypus, gangetic dolphin, New World monkeys, and Old World mammals are made in the first year. Simultaneously, an initiative is taken to get the origin and bio details of the specimens through DNA barcoding, molecular taxonomy, proteomic studies, taphonomic studies, and morphometry. But all these terms sound alien to common people, which Professor Banerjee explained.
In every species, there is a particular strand of DNA in the mitochondrial CO1 gene, which is a signature for that species. And this has not been conserved by evolution. That means for every species, whenever there is a branching, a new permutation of the nucleotide sequence has been instituted. So the technique by which that particular signature can be decoded, whatever mortal remains of the organism, is in a morphologically indistinguishable state. We cannot, by looking at it, understand what it is. This objective assay, in a very, very minute amount, even a few microgram amount, can tell us what it was. So this is a powerful technology we use for identification, and it has applications in forensic science, in food adulteration, in medical sciences, and of course in taxonomy.
A particular species of termite is keeping particular species of protozoans. When you can identify in that level, why not this? Looking at the particular habitat, and you may not see this animal, but you may find their fecal matters.
R&D side means we should develop some sorts of history of the animals, and you can tape it, and you just press on knob that all the informations in different languages, whatever language you need, it come out. It will be, the tape will go on telling you the details about the animals, about its habitat, its living, its feeding, behavior, everything. So in one place, simply by pressing one knob, you can know anything about these animals. And this should be introduced into the museum cases. Interpretation center is like that. I also planned that when I will have that interpretation center in my place, then I will introduce this system. And in the pictures, in the tape, you will get the entire, just like movie you will see about the animals, about the natural habitat, its movements, its behaviors, and its importance in nature.
I'm delighted to hear that your department is restoring these things. These are really important specimens that you have here in the Department of Zoology. I come from a museum in London where we have many specimens like this, and they're incredibly valuable to our research, especially as we're interested in biodiversity and its conservation. And I think only with collections like this can you really understand biodiversity.
This museum is unique on processing a collection unrivaled by the best museum and repositories of the world. Not only its archival value is immense, but it is also supremely advantaged in being within the premises and intellectual folds of a school of higher education with a nest of brains and skill. 8 new display cabinets are prepared in the second year on various orders of Animal Kingdom. New ecological dioramas are designed, which includes ecosystems like mangroves, temperate forest, North American forest, coral reef, lentic ecosystem, and more. Display work in 5 of them has started. But something unexpected happened right at the time. One fine Monday, news channels get breaking news. A major fire broke out inside the geological laboratory of Baligan Science College. specimens from almost everywhere on the planet, including animals like leopard seal from Antarctica, platypus from Australian realm, mammals from Palearctic zone, monkeys from Neotropical realm, embryos of rare foreign and endemic animals from more than 100 years back, such as baboons, spotted hyenas, were present inside the lab. All were gone. The dreams and effort of an academician burned to ashes. Professor Rai Banerjee went every possible door and at last managed to get funds for the museum. From West Bengal State Government's Department of Education, from UGC's University with Potential of Excellence, from West Bengal Department of Biotechnology, West Bengal Science and Technology Council grant, Science and Engineering Research Board grant, and of course, Tata's Education Trust. But are everything really gone with a few minutes fire? Can nothing be done with what is left inside the locked and burnt room? Have all the dreams shattered completely? Professor Banerjee says, no. Still there are ample of opportunities and scopes to get things from whatever small particles left. Even if the world ends, there remain DNAs. The animals and their history can be revived through the DNAs, and again the cells can be rebuilt. Is it really possible to see a mammoth coming down the Howrah Bridge in near future? Professor Banerjee laughs and says, yes, it is possible. But we the scientists are bound not to create life completely.
For example, one of the things that I'm often asked is that we have that the tuft of hair from mammoths, and we are probably the only ones in this subcontinent to have that. So whether it contains any useful material that can be used for any other purpose, and being a regenerative medicine exponent, to us we have the technology and we can actually synthesize a mammoth by using embryological techniques and other developmental markers and so on and so forth. I'm not saying it's an easy task, but I'm saying yes, it is not impossible.
The museum is like a library where various books and diverse topics are displayed. One wanders into the library with an open mind and wonders at the vast panorama of life and spectrum of information.
Museum is a part of the 21st century education system. This is because many animals are extinct in the last centuries.
Science and technology has come to such a stage that we can actually use molecules out of those animals to ideate, to conceptualize and execute a whole new chain of thought and experiments and projects that can lead to various things.
Enormous number of exhibits in mammals. Enormous numbers of skeletons, specimens, they are there. Earlier people used to collect, they used to study. After study they used to keep for the museum because of interesting features are there. But those interesting features we have never come across except publications. That is not.
But all museums have their own little treasures, which are actually little treasures as educational tools that you can tell your student and show, impart the knowledge that is there from it, but it can also act as a nucleus to develop ideas, to develop projects and actually use some of the materials from there, provided of course we do not damage the material. One of the aims of having a museum like this, which was meant as a teaching museum, but there is nothing called a teaching museum and a non-teaching museum. A museum is a museum. Now it is up to you how you want to use it. Whether you want to be a tourist and spend an afternoon there, you want to be a teacher to demonstrate your things over there, you want to be a scientist and use the materials for your science and technology, or something else. The the asset of a country is not just the resources, the natural resources that nature has given us, but it is also the human beings that reside in that particular geographical domain and the kind of skills that they have. Now, skills are basically survival skills. Now, in science, the need for your skill depends on the discipline in which you have trained and the discipline in which you work. In a museum, I feel it sort of brings everything together in terms of bringing natural resources that are geographically far apart, the techniques that are used to tell the story using those specimens, they themselves are skills that can be imparted to other people. In the course of restoring this museum, I have found that taxidermy skills are very, very rare to come across. How to preserve the animals. And skill building exercise tends to take on a life of its own. So a center of excellence that has regular visits by professionals, by experts, by thinkers, and young people who are training underneath them.
Education and science, two boons for nation building. Thus was born a modern concept of Natural History Museum, which is priceless specimens on one hand, science and technology on other. Proteomic analysis, she felt, would be an excellent starting point for bioresource hunting. This was collaborated with the University of Manchester, Morphometry with Geological Study Unit, Indian Statistical Institute. As the Centenary Heritage Geological Museum.
A damaged, partially damaged skull, not even the full skull, of a riverine porpoise, say, of a whale, say, of an elephant, can tell the story of a much younger earth, a much cleaner environment, ways by which the animal fed and lived. From those remains, technology can tell us, can help us provide keys to unravel mysteries by which we can undo some of the damage that